The year-long Sinaloa Bartel internal war has left over 1,850 unalived. Despicable. On September 9, 2024 marked the beginning of an internal war in the Sinaloa Bartel that, after a year of clashes between the Chapitos and the Yomas faction, left a balance of 1,850 people unalive, according to the latest security reports. I'm sure plenty of those numbers fell through the cracks. I'm sure there's way more than that. I'm sure there's way more caught in the crossfire than that. And that number's already ridiculous, disrespectful, and sad. More than 1,800 forced disappearances and a climate of insecurity that transformed the daily and economic life of Sinaloa. These people have been held under siege since the beginning of this shit. And the shit been going on a year. Remember, it was a couple months after, it was about this time that it kicked off. It was a couple months after he got snatched up by his godson, dragged over to the United States and handed over to the U.S. authorities. Everybody thought the war would start the next day. If they snatched him like you said they did, Shy, there'd be red fluid flowing through the streets of Sinaloa. Well, it took some planning, took some thinking, took some considering. And once they planned and they thought and they considered, then they went to war. They haven't stopped. In the gore section of our Discord, we've seen no lack of paper plate disposable soldier treated however they wanted to treat them. And in that time, 1850, unalived, and 1800 disappeared. Despite the deployment of more than 14,000 federal troops and multiple operations, violence persists. And Sinaloa society faces a landscape of uncertainty and fear. They've been living with that. They've been living on the walkout, and what can I do outside, and how can I not get caught up in this, and I gotta go to work. Now I'm sure the media probably makes it seem to us like nothing's getting done. I'm sure these people are resilient people. They gotta eat, right? But they're under pressure. And their oppressor is the Bartels that they've, whose thumb they've been under for so long. Statistics presented by the federal and state governments reveal a stark reality for the state. September 2024 closed with 142 unalivings. October with 182, November with 175, December with 156, January 2025 with 138, February with 119, March with a 135, April with 119, May with 165, and June with 219, of which 30 occurred on the 30th of June alone. Jeez. There's no lack of paper plate. There's no lack of disposable soldier. They ready to go and be one-use soldiers. Doesn't matter. We're going to get it done. It is what it is. Officials reveal that during this period, 46 members of security forces, including municipal and state police, investigative agents, and federal agents, lost their lives. 33 of them in Culiacan. The victims are not limited to those involved in the conflict. Women, girls, boys, and especially young men, the disposable soldiers, plastic forks, paper plates, are among the unalived. Women, girls, boys. That means children, y'all. But there's still some of y'all around here that want to wear their jersey and walk around. Puro puro el otro, puro pendejo. Is what you are. You just a disgrace to humanity. You not a gangster. You a monster. That's what it is. Once little kids, that make you tough? doing something to kids, women, whole shit. The victims are not limited to those involved in the conflict. Women, girls, boys, and especially young men are among the unalived. Furthermore, according to the Mexican government, there are 1,804 reported cases of forced disappearances, of which 643 people have been located. 136 of them were found unalive. There is no public data on the circumstances of those who managed to return to their homes. Why? Huh? You mean to tell me, let's just say 500 people, about 500 people that were forced disappearances that are returned home. You can't tell us nothing, right? I'm sure they don't want to talk, but you can't tell us nothing. In a world where your data is the product, best move is to disappear. That's why I use NordVPN. Military-grade encryption, blazing fast servers, and access to content blocked in my region. Whether you're streaming, working, or just browsing, NordVPN makes sure that you're anonymous and safe. Go to nordvpn.com/ILL or click the link in the description for huge discounts. Lock your privacy in before someone locks you out. Forced disappearances. People getting snatched off the streets and leveraged in the middle of this war. People being used like a bulletproof vest. People being held, babies being held in front of these tough guys that you guys celebrate. You wear their jerseys. Meanwhile, they're hiding behind babies in a shootout. Fuck out of here. No mommy.
No mommy's wait.
Out of my face. What? Miss me with the bullshit. State security. Given the situation, federal authorities have stepped up their presence in Sinaloa. The deployment includes elite special forces units, paratroopers, intelligence personnel, and Ocelot armored vehicles. The state has also obtained direct intervention from the Secretary of Security and Citizen Protection, Omar Garcia Harfuch, which allowed for temporary reduction in high-impact crimes. According to the federal government, between October 1st and August 18th, security forces arrested 1,615 people for serious crimes, seized more than 3,000 firearms and 64 tons of drugs, including more than 1 ton and 1.8 million Fediwap pills. 1.8 million. And dismantled 105 Method Man labs. However, the public perception is that these efforts have not managed to sustainably curb the violence. And you got their bosses in federal prisons in the United States. You guys can't hold it down, man. You can't stop the violence. And guess what? Nobody's calling for it. They say they're calling for it. They're not calling for it. Furthermore, the daily lives of students in Sinaloa have changed drastically. From preschool to university, students and teachers have adopted safety measures in classrooms to prevent possible shootings by listening for hammer shots, lying on the floor, and covering their heads. These types of protective strategies reflect the level of risk the population faces in their daily lives. These people are under siege. They are not free. They are oppressed by their own. Banners have appeared on main roads in Culiacan with messages of peace and encouragement for residents who have faced a wave of violence caused by the internal dispute within the criminal organization. The placement of these messages called pasmantas was carried out by the Culiacan Valiente Collective with the aim of sending a positive message to all Sinaloans living in Culiacan, which has been the main focus of the clashes. They say they don't snitch. They say that they're the ones being betrayed. Each side says, look at these betrayers, these turncoats, right? Meanwhile, they're all doing the same shit. They're throwing flyers out of windows, telling people, hey, man, this guy works for those guys. Get rid of him. Get him out of here. Like, it seemed like a shit show to me. And you guys holding it up. Puro this one, puro that one. Puro pendejo. Economic cost. The economic impact of this crisis is equally severe. The private sector estimates that the violence affected all productive sectors from agriculture to commerce, hospitality, gastronomy, and entertainment, even affecting private schools. Economic losses are estimated at 36 billion pesos, while the state-run Coparmex reports the loss of more than 35,000 jobs. Furthermore, business closures have spread throughout the state. I wouldn't doubt it. And nightlife in Culiacan's iconic locations remains paralyzed. You just took out a chunk of the people's bread right there. This wave of violence has led the population to prioritize the security of their homes, limiting social and economic activity. Yeah, man. They're choking out the people of Sinaloa. They're choking them out. This wave of violence has led the population to prioritize the security of their homes, limiting social and economic activity. In addition, the agencies reported that 7,810 vehicles of all makes and models were stolen, exacerbating the sense of security and property loss. Hey, they need tanks, right? They can't do it without tanks. You can't blow up your own community. You can't blow up the people who cheered for you if you don't build armored cars. And in order to build armored cars, I need your Tahoe. It is what it is. Stop rooting for these fucking losers, man. Alright? The people that are suffering in this war is the people of Sinaloa. Alright? Desperate people that are looking for their family right here. And I'm hoping that more people denounce these cartels and stop choosing sides and stop picking teams rather than these blood vendettas continuing. Because there's a son of somebody in these pictures right here that's going to want revenge in the future. I'm hoping the family could separate themselves from this nonsense culture, this nonsense cartel culture, long enough for these kids to forego those blood vendettas, knowing that their lifeline, their family's line, their future is better off without it. All right, salutes to the people of Sinaloa, the innocent people of Sinaloa.